Until Shiloh comes, Bo Yeshua. Today we're going to be looking at the blessings of the tribes of Israel, particularly, of course, focusing most of our attention on the blessing of Yehuda because of the messianic implications that exist within this blessing. And we're also going to be dispelling a huge myth, an extremely prolific myth, one of those things that one of those myths that I over the years I've received questions about this over and over and over again. Up until just recently, I have to continually answer it. It's a huge myth. It's a huge point of confusion for non-Jewish people, Gentiles, and it's all Paul's fault. There you go. But it's true. But I say that kind of tongue in cheek, but it is true. We're going to be explaining that, dispelling that myth, and so forth. So wait for that. Glad you're here. Thank you so much for being here. Please be sure and like this video, subscribe to our channel, donate to Lapid Judaism. Hey, I haven't asked you to do that in quite some time, just so many other things going on, but we depend upon your financial support. We do. And so we're asking you to use the text to give numbers that are in the description of every video, or you can go to our website, lapidjudaism.org, or you can call us at our office, 940-210-1962. 940-210-1962. You can call us there and donate, give. You can mail a check. You can send in gold or silver. Shove your money under the door. No, seriously. I don't know. There's all kinds of ways to give. That's the point. And so we just asking you to support this ministry, this movement. Really, it's more than a ministry. It's really a movement. Help us to continue to do what we're doing. So thank you again for being here. It's always my joy and pleasure to be with you. And I enjoy teaching on this program and bringing down some light. So Bo Yeshua, Bo is the Hebrew word that means come. Like it's a call, like Bo Mashiach, Bo Yeshua, Bo Mashiach Yakshav. So, we want Hashem to send the Mashiach now. And it's interesting because we are waiting. We are Jews. Lapid Judaism represents a legitimate Orthodox Judaism that believes that Yeshua is the Messiah. And we are awaiting the second coming of the Mashiach. Question is, just an interesting question. Are we the only Jews who are awaiting the second coming of Messiah? Are we? Well, no. Well, first of all, let me stipulate that Yeshua is the Messiah and there is no other. So let's just make that clear. However, putting that aside, are we the only Jews who are awaiting the second coming of Mashiach? The answer, of course, is no. This is what I'm about to tell you is crucial, because as Lapid Jews, for those of you who have become Lapid Jews formally and officially, those of you who are working towards conversion and so forth, and whether you're of Jewish descent or not, but you're working towards conversion and so forth, so on, you're going to encounter people, you're going to encounter Jewish people who believe that there's no such thing as a second coming of Messiah, that's all pagan or Gentile or Christianity or doesn't have any validity in Torah Judaism. Now, there are Jews, right? There are Jewish people who are clandestinely watching this program every single day. By the way, we're glad you're here. Thank you. But you don't chat, you don't comment, but you watch because, you watch because you're looking, you're searching too. And of course you are, naturally. But for those Jewish people who are watching, you've been taught that the idea that there's two comings of Messiah is Gentile nonsense. You've been taught that a Messiah that dies is obviously not the Messiah. I mean, duh, because he didn't bring world peace. He didn't bring in the tribes. He didn't establish a kingdom. So, hello, he can't be the Messiah. Come on. What you don't realize is that both of those things are not only false according to Judaism, but it's the exact reverse. So, according to all of the sources, pick it. Midrash, check. Talmud, check. Zohar, check. Pick your favorite commentator. Rashi, Rambam, Ramban, or Hachayim, Ibn Ezra, Ma'am Loez, Seif. You pick your favorite one, and all of them agree that the Mashiach will come on a second tour of duty and be the Mashiach, son of David. I said second time. And wait for it, all of the commentaries and sources I just mentioned, every single one says that the Mashiach will come initially as Mashiach ben Yosef, and he will die, that's right, for the sins of Israel, and then be resurrected. No, I'm not making this up, and become the Mashiach, son of David. So, according to Judaism, prove me wrong, I dare you. According to Judaism, the Mashiach comes 2 times and dies once. So, that's a fact, Jack. Okay? So, or a fact, Joseph. Now, back to our question. Are we the only Jews that are waiting for the second coming of the Messiah? Answer is no. To give you 3 examples, and there's probably more, but these are the 3 that I know for sure. I'm sure there's other minor sects of Judaism that have their own belief, but let me give you the 3 top glaring, no, we're not alone as Lapid Jews. Okay. I'm talking about just Messiah in general. We know that Yeshua is the Messiah. I want to make that clear. But just talking about the Mashiach in general, are we the only Jews that are waiting for the second coming? Are we, Charlie? Look at Charlie look this up while I'm saying this. Make sure I'm right. Now, the 2 or 3, sects that are awaiting the second coming of Messiah are Chabad, Breslev, and Knock Knock. Knock Knock is kind of an offshoot of Breslev, but they're kind of the same, but not. Not. Anyway. Now, again, there are probably other sects of Judaism, probably minor sects, little caveat groups that have their own Mashiach. Maybe their Rebbe they thought was a Messiah, and maybe you know of them, maybe you don't. I don't know, but I know that those are the 3 big ones, and Chabad is huge. Anybody ever seen, this is really quickly before I get back to the Shiloh thing. Anybody ever watch the, what do you call it? It's a soap opera, basically. All of a sudden I went blank. Is it Stitzel? Anyway, I know you have. It was on Netflix or something like that. It's a good show. It's totally a Hebrew soap opera, but still, it was interesting to watch. Let me put it that way. It was interesting to watch. So that program in that show, Hadassah was fascinated by it. I think she enjoyed just kind of learning about stuff, and particularly the Hebrew. She binged watched it like 4 times. But in any case, during that program, so it focused in on a Haredi family, basically, which is ultra Orthodox, but not necessarily Hasidic, but putting kind of sort of maybe, but not, anyway, it's different. But what was interesting is, if you remember, those of you who watched the program, the father, and I forget now if it was his daughter or no, it was the daughter. Yes, he had a daughter that was Stitzel's sister, I guess, if I remember correctly. And she had married a Chabad guy. And so that caused a rift in the family. He hadn't talked to her or seen the kids, the grandkids, like in a long, maybe forever, because she had married this Chabad guy, kind of broke with the Haredi tradition. Okay. But in the translation of the film, because it's all in Hebrew, and so therefore in the caption, he refers to the Chabad guy as a messianic. Did anybody catch that? Did anybody pick that up when you were watching the show? I'm serious. Did you? Maybe now you're going to go. I don't remember what episode it was, but it doesn't even matter. But now you're going to want to go back and see it again, which is fine. And by the way, I believe that was in the first series, because there was like 3 series, right? I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm not very good at that kind of stuff. But anyway, the point is that he referred to the Chabad guy as a messianic. Yeah. Why? Because they believe that the Rebbe is the Messiah. So therefore they're waiting for the second coming. 100%. So anyway, hence we are waiting for Yeshua to return, but we're not the only Jews who are waiting for that. And this is a huge, humongous thing. So this empowers you to have educated conversations. And for all the Jews, and there are many who are watching this program, don't take my word for it. You go look it up yourself. Go look it up in the Midrash Rabbah of Breishis, of Shemot, of Bamidbar, of Vayikra, of Davarim. Go look it up in the Midrash Rabbah, Shir HaShirim. Look it up in the Zohar. Pick your volume. So and by the way, just so happens it talks about it right here before us today. So, and you got to deal with that. You can't say, well, it's just a pagan idea. Well, no, it's not. The Messiah coming a second time and dying and being resurrected to new life is not pagan. I'm sorry, it's just not. So you have to deal with that. Now you can argue, well, Yeshua is not the Messiah because blah, 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 but you can't dismiss him just because he didn't bring world peace. He's not a Miss Universe candidate, okay? All right, so look at the besides, when the Messiah comes, he's not supposed to bring world peace anyway. Anybody heard about the wars? Judah, your brothers shall acknowledge you. So Yaakov is beginning to speak a blessing over Judah. And he says, your brothers will acknowledge you. This is good because this verse here gives us the opportunity to dispel a huge myth that, as I said, is Paul's fault. Okay? So it says, after eliminating the 3 older brothers as future leaders, in his 4th son, Jacob recognized the virtues necessary for this honor. The reasons which prompted this choice are 4 in number, according to Abarbanel. First of all, Judah's brothers respected his natural authority without feeling the slightest jealousy towards him. Okay. Next. Now, by the way, this is a clue. So Judah represents the Messiah, son of David, the Messiah who will return. And Joseph represents the suffering Messiah, the Mashiach ben Yosef. Now, clearly, when the Mashiach ben Yosef came, Joseph, the brothers experienced extraordinary jealousy towards him. It was all jealousy driven. And this answers the question, pardon me, which is a great question. So why do Jews reject Christianity today? Well, for lots of reasons. It's pagan at its root. And by the way, well, I don't want to make Christians mad, so I'm just going to stop talking about that. But it's pagan at its root. It's a false religion. It's Paulinian based. Paul was a heretic, 100%, easily proven. No, he didn't keep Torah. Sigh. No, he didn't teach us to do the same. I wrote a whole article about this. Let Paul Go, explaining the cognitive dissonance of that thinking. But the primary reason why Jesus Christ, may that name be removed from the earth, is rejected by Jews is because JC teaches people to abandon the laws of Moses, period. Okay. That's the number one glaring problem. Okay. That is, by biblical definition, the hallmark of a false Messiah. Okay. There's no way around that. So a supposed Messiah that in any way, shape, or form nullifies, abrogates, makes of no effect, makes optional, alters, obliterates, sets aside, whatever word salad you want to use, the laws of Moses. I don't care if you say, well, he fulfilled them, so I don't have to. That would mean that he makes them ineffectual for you or not obligatory for you. That is also included in this line of thought. Any supposed Messiah that does that is, by biblical definition, a liar, a false Messiah. Period. End of discussion. I don't care if he caused the moon to explode, if he walked on water, if he held his breath for 48 hours. I don't care. It doesn't matter. He is a false Messiah, period. Okay. So the question now becomes, well, Yeshua, when he was walking around the earth, he clearly kept kept the Torah. He clearly did not teach others to break Torah. We know that because everybody who said he did were lying at his trial. So he was a good Jew. He was a Tzaddik. Even today, Jewish people look at Yeshua and say, yeah, he was actually a good Jew. Maybe not the Messiah, but he was a good Jew. Paul's a liar, a heretic. That's what Jewish people think today, okay? And by the way, they're right. Aside from the fact that he's not Messiah, they're wrong about that, but they're right about everything else. So the question now becomes, why was Yeshua rejected when he was here? If it wasn't an issue of Torah, if he didn't break the Sabbath, if he didn't teach others to do the same, he didn't eat pork chops, he didn't invite people over for lobster tail when he was having his meetings. So what was the problem? And the answer, of course, is very simple. It's jealousy, just like Joseph. But the prophecy about Judah is that they accepted him, his brothers accepted him, and there was no jealousy. It's a huge difference. So therefore, when the Mashiach comes initially, he'll be rejected because of jealousy. And when he returns, that jealousy will disappear. Eyes will be opened, etc., etc. Okay? So, that's right, Peaches. No cheeseburgers. There was no Burger King, just the King of Kings. So it says here, where was I? I lost my train. I lost my place. Here it is. Oh, so he had emerged victorious from all his undertakings and had succeeded in finally establishing a harmonious peace among the brothers. He was not impetuous like Reuben, nor did he have violent tendencies like Simeon and Levi. Instead, he possessed the majestic calm which comes from the confidence in one's own powers. And by using the metaphor of the lion of the cub of Judah, his father heightened the impression of majesty and power, which was manifest in his personality. So, in this prophecy, Judah is referred to as a lion cub. From the prey, my son, elevated yourself. The scepter will not depart from Judah, etc. And so this is where, of course, we get the imagery of Judah and the lion of Judah, etc., etc. Now, here comes the part where we get to dispel a myth. Are you ready? All right. Let me make sure I got my sources lined up so we can make sure we bring sources to the table here. All right. So it says in the Midrash Rabbah, Judah, you, your brethren, shall acknowledge you. Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai said, Jacob was saying, all your brothers will be called by your name. For a Jewish person does not say, I am a Reubenite or I am a Simeonite, regardless of his particular tribal affiliation, but rather the member of Israel says, I am a Jew. Rabbi Yehuda bar Simeon said, this may be compared to a king who had 12 children, one of whom was more beloved to him than all the rest of them. And as such, the king gave him a separate portion and also a portion together with his brothers. And it says in the footnotes, they will recognize your position as the leader of the nation by identifying themselves through your name. So therefore, we as Jews, regardless of what tribe we come from, call ourselves Jews because we acknowledge that the king is from Judah. Therefore, if you deny the name Jew from yourself, then you are necessarily denying the kingship of Judah, which, by the way, is exactly what the northern kingdom of Israel, the Ephraimites, did. They denied Judah. They denied the temple. They denied David. They therefore denied Messiah, and ultimately they denied God, which is why they refuse to call themselves Jews, because ultimately to deny the king is to deny the King of Kings. Okay? So it says here, the word for Jew in Hebrew and in many other languages is identical to the word for Yehudi, or from Yehuda. Now, here's the myth. You've already figured it out, I know. A lot of Jewish people, excuse me, my apologies, a lot of Gentile people have been told that you're only a Jew if you come from Judah. That is historically and biblically false. Okay? That's never been true. And it's so easily proven in scripture, but what's the problem here? The problem is people don't read scripture, number one. Number two, the bigger problem is, even for those who read the Tanakh, the problem is that, and by the way, this comes from Hebrew roots, of course. Hebrew roots people are ultimately still Pauline Christians. They read the Tanakh very much through the lens of Paul. And because of that, there's this idea that I'm supposed to be a Gentile. Well, maybe not a Gentile, but certainly not Jewish, because Yeshua kind of hated the Jews. He kind of came here. Well, he didn't come here to destroy the Torah like I've been taught my entire life in Christianity. What he did come here to do, though, was fight against the rabbis and to destroy Judaism. So I can't be a Jew, because that would mean I was part of the people he came to destroy. So I must be, even though, wait a minute, he's a Jew from Judah. That would mean he's destroying Judah, which is his own tribe, which is like civil war. But putting that aside, because I don't understand that right now, I must be an Israelite. That's it. I was scattered among the nations. It's just nonsense. All right. Let me just dispel the myth really quickly and help people not be crazy. All Jews, regardless of their tribal affiliation, are called Jews. Why? Because the king is from Judah. It's just that simple. Now, naturally, by the way, another element of all of this, I'm not a Jew, I'm an Israelite. And a huge glaring part of that is anti-Semitism. You better believe it. 100%. Oh, yeah. Strong. That's a strong anti-Semitism. Okay. Yeah. Well, no, I'm not anti-Semite. I know why you would say that, but you are. At least that, well, I'm not going to say you are, but that mentality is. Okay. 100%. Mayam Loez says the same thing. Mayam Loez brings down all your brothers we call by your name. When a Jew is asked what he is, he does not reply, I'm a Reubenite or a Simonite. Rather, he says, I'm a Yehudi. I'm a Jew. Why? Because I subjugate myself to the king of Judah. All right. That's from Mayam Loez. Whoops. Excuse me. Pardon me, ma'am. Here in the Art Scroll commentary, it says, Rabbi Shimon ben Yochai said, the essence of this acknowledgement, all of your brothers will acknowledge you, is that Judah's brothers will be called by his name. It goes on to say the same thing from the Midrash. A Reubenite will not say I'm a Reubenite, or Simonite will not say I'm a Simonite, but rather I am a Yehudi. Why? Because I subject myself to the authority of Judah. Period. Okay. So the myth is, if you're a Jew, it does not mean that you're from the tribe of Judah. And please do not ever use, as a Lapid, I'm talking to the Lapid people here. Do not ever say brother Judah or big brother Judah. That is nomenclature, phraseology from the Hebrew roots cult. Don't ever say that, because that is from the two house stuff. Now, if you might be saying to yourself right now, self, I have no idea what the rabbi is talking about. I don't know what the two house thing is. I don't know what the Ephraimite thing is. I don't know what a Hebrew roots is. I have no idea what he's talking about. If that's you right now, good. No, you need to teach us about it. No, I don't. If you've never heard of it, count yourself lucky. Get on your knees right now and thank God that you've been spared from the black hole of confusion, and just say, thank you, Lord. And then get up and continue watching the program. And click side. Anybody seen Star Wars and the Star Wars bar scene? Dun 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 dun. Anybody? Star Wars? That's, if you want to know what Hebrew roots is, then go back to the original Star Wars and watch that scene, and pretty much it explains it. All right, so it says until Shiloh comes, until Shiloh arrives. This is the King Messiah to whom sovereignty belongs. Until his coming, Judah will hold the royal scepter in the midst of his nation, but the Messiah, son of David, will be king over all the gathered nations. His is the assembly of nations. So what it's saying here is that until the Mashiach ben David comes, Judah has kingship over the nation of Israel. When Yeshua comes back, he will rule the world. Okay, which is one of those reasons why, we teach a Torah-true Judaism here for all peoples, although those peoples need to become Jews, and that's 100% legitimate. Is because when the Mashiach comes, he's going to be ruling the world. Now, the Mashiach is not going to rule the world and say, use people over here, I want y'all to follow my holy law, which is awesome and amazing and so life-giving. And you people over here, I don't care what you do. Do whatever y'all want to do. Eat whatever you want. Go with it. Just don't worship idols. And I wrote about this in the Midrash. It talks about that the doctor will give the patient who's going to live a healthy diet because he wants him to continue to be healthy. He's going to live. To the patient who's going to die, he says, eat whatever you want, using food, of course, as a euphemism for Torah law. So if we look at people and we say, you don't have to keep the Torah, we don't even care what you do. Do whatever you want. Just have a good time. Eat before you die tomorrow. And the reason is because they don't have, and the Midrash says the reason for this is because the nations, the Gentiles who don't convert to Judaism, have no life in the world to come. So that's bad. So if you're thinking to yourself, oh, I'm a Gentile, God has told me he doesn't care whatever I do. He, as long as I'm a good person. I get to define that for myself, by the way. But as far as the Torah, I'm a Gentile. I don't have to follow the Torah. That's because you're going to die. It's not good. It's not good. Eat whatever you want. It's not good. Okay. So anyway, we don't want to be that person, right? We want to have the health plan diet because we want to live. Okay. In the Encyclopedia of Biblical Interpretation, Kasher quotes 11 different interpretations of the word Shiloh, but Jewish tradition has retained that only of Rashi and Onklos, who give it the meaning of Messiah for the reasons mentioned by Rashi. Ramban also quotes his reply to the king, the Messiah will come, that is certain, and he will be, and now it goes on to say here, this is an interesting, so Ramban brings down, the Messiah will come, but he will be born of a father and a mother from the dynasty of David, as it says, Ad ki yavo Shiloh, until the coming of his son. The term Shiloh being derived from Shilyah, meaning a little child, as in Deuteronomy 28:27. Thus he will come into the world normally like all men. That is the idea of Rambam. Now, of course, here at Lapid Judaism, we know that the Mashiach came not normally. He came through a virgin birth. Yes. No, it's not pagan. Yes, it did happen. And there's a reason for that, which we've covered. There's a video I have here called Why a Virgin Birth and so forth. I cover the reasons why in that video teaching. We won't get into that here. But he's talking here about Ad ki yavo Shiloh. And I'm reading that, of course, just so you know, I'm reading that it actually has the sentence here written in Hebrew. And the reason I bring that up is because I want you to understand that I recognize the word Shiloh and Shilyah. But what's also interesting is that Shiloh is also could be in that word is Shilyah, can also be placenta. If you take those words and separate them apart, my argument, my rebuttal to Rambam would be like, well, yes, it's true. Shiloh could be related to Shilyah, which is meaning like a little child, but it's also related to the word for placenta. Okay. And if you separate Shilyah, Shiloh, you separate those two words out. Now you have Shel-Yah. It actually does spell child of God. So in any case, it's interesting here. So what I'm trying to say is even in that phraseology, there could be an allusion to a divine child. Now, this is why in Judaism, we can have this discussion. We can have this debate. You say, well, is that true or not? We can have this discussion, right? As long as we're all Torah-true Jews. You can choose to disagree with me. Oh, that's a wrong idea and so forth. Well, that's fine. Right now, Chabad thinks that the Rebbe who passed away in 1994, I think it was, they think that he was the Messiah and he's going to return and be Mashiach ben David. Okay, fine. The Rebbe, with all due respect, he's not even from the tribe of Judah. He wasn't born in Bethlehem. He's not from the line of David. I mean, he never even visited Israel. Literally, the Rebbe was a great man, but literally, he did zero to indicate that he was the suffering Messiah or the Messiah at all. Like zero, zilch, nada, right? But yet, there are plenty of people who are kind of like, you know what, he might be. And so here's Yeshua, who actually fulfills a lot of things, right? But yeah, for sure, he's not. 100% not. I mean, it's crazy, right? Okay. So it says here, he will tie his donkey to the vine. All right. So it says, thus Jacob realized the Messiah, but how does he see him? He sees the conqueror of humanity, not on a steed, but with a young donkey. The donkey is the beast of burden, which always represents peaceful well-being, peaceful national greatness, whereas the steed represents military and might. Similarly, of all the unclean animals, it is the donkey which is chosen through Peter Hamod, that is to represent the consecration of all movable possessions. It is this animal that carries man and his goods at a leisurely pace. Accordingly, the Jewish conception of royal power is not represented by the number of horses. In fact, it's forbidden for the king, leharbot sus, the future, that is to count the horses, right? The future redeemer of Jewry and humanity appears then here in connection with the donkey, and this image supports a twofold vision of shalom and material well-being. For to tie up his animal, and especially the ayir, the frisky donkey's cult to the vine, it is a sign of a very greatly increased development of nature and of an extraordinary abundance. The image of the Messiah riding on a donkey is also how the coming of the Redeemer appeared to the prophet Zechariah in his messianic vision. Rejoice greatly, O daughter of Zion. Shout with joy, O daughter of Jerusalem. Look how your king comes to you, righteous and victorious, humbly riding upon a donkey, upon the colt of a donkey. So we see here that Messiah came to us naturally riding on a donkey. That was, of course, a huge um, fulfillment of the prophecy of Zechariah. When he came into Jerusalem that day, riding on the donkey, people were crying out to him, "Hosanna, Hosanna to the Son of David." What they didn't realize is he was not coming to Jerusalem at that time to be the son of David, but rather to be the son of Joseph, to be the suffering Messiah. That's why people were disappointed and disillusioned. They didn't understand that he had to fulfill that role. Jews today don't understand that he had to fulfill that role. Let's just suppose for a moment, we're not wrong, but let's just suppose for a moment that we are in fact wrong. Let's suppose for a moment that Yeshua, Chasvei Shalom, is not the Mashiach, and we're wrong. Are we damned to hell, by the way, if we're wrong? No. Why? Because we love God. Okay. But putting that aside, what if we're wrong? Well, here, okay, fine. But I want to tell you that those of you who think that we're wrong and you're waiting for another Messiah, I'm going to tell you right now, your Messiah, if we're wrong, we're not wrong, but let's suppose we are. Your Messiah, according to all rabbinic interpretations, oral law, whatever, will come and die. He has to. There's no such thing. It's a myth that the Mashiach's going to just come and immediately begin to rule. You won't find that in any ancient source. So just know that if you're saying, well, Yeshua is not the Messiah, okay, fine. But whoever your guy is, when he shows up, he will have to die. Unless he's already died, in the case of Chabad and Breslev. But until Shiloh comes, we say, Bo Yeshua. Come, Yeshua. Come and make your presence known among your people. Come and rule and reign and help us to prepare the way for the Lord here in this wilderness. End of our Aliyah today. There's a lot more to share. We are simply out of time, but never out of content. But hopefully and prayerfully, we have gone a long way this morning to help clear the air and help educate ourselves and others. And as always, set people free from toxic theologies, right? Which the whole Jew thing is a very toxic theology. And by the way, prevents people from being able to live like the Messiah. If you're not a Jew, that's a problem because the Messiah is King of the Jews. End of our Aliyah. I look forward to seeing you. Shabbat Shalom. Have a great prep day. We'll see you tomorrow in the synagogue, God willing, Bezrat Hashem.